All right, guys, welcome back. No fancy editing here, just me and you talking about crypto. And to start off with, my name is James. I have all of my net worth in crypto, absolutely everything. This is what I'm considering to be my big bet before I turn 40, and I have to become maybe I don't know. I don't know if I'll become more responsible, but this is a market review. I just want to talk through the market and help you guys understand. There's been influencers over the last 2 years talking about when altcoin season is going to be. So I want us just to look at the market objectively, take some of these theories that have been proposed. First off, let's start with the disclaimer. Yeah, this just says you can pause the video and read it. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't encourage anyone watching this video to go and risk a large amount. It's up to you on what you do with your money. A lot of people lose money in crypto, probably more than 95%. So, anyway, with that out of the way, here are the theories that have been going around, and I've kind of compiled them here. Uh, the first theory is that QE, quantitative easing, will start alt season. And this has mainly been proposed, it's been proposed by a number of influencers. One of the influencers, Virtual Bacon, says that, once the Fed pivots its balance sheet, that will be the start of alt season. In general, quantitative easing is good for risk assets. So when interest rates go lower, people are more inclined to tackle risk assets, which often obviously is what altcoins are in that bucket of high risk assets. The next one is the M2 money supply. People analyze the M2 money supply, and that's just the total amount of money floating around in the system. It has been trending up these last few months, and it's believed that the Bitcoin trails that and follows it on a certain lag. I think it's like 30 days. So if the M2 money supply goes up, then there's a suspicion that Bitcoin will follow. The next theory is, Bitcoin dominance is topped, and we're once Bitcoin dominance drops, then altcoins will obviously follow. I mean, that's the definition of Bitcoin dominance. So when dominance tops and starts heading downtrending, then that's the start of alt season. There's another theory floating around that says there are way too many coins now to have a historical alt season. So it has become easier and easier for people to mint their own coins, and now there is an exorbitant amount on the market, and we'll go into that here in a little bit. But that's essentially what that theory is saying. Finally, Ethereum must break its all-time high. And let's just look at these one by one. Each of them holds some truth. So first, let's look at quantitative easing. When will it start? So this is just to keep you guys up to date on what's going on. Here are the metrics. So the next FOMC meeting is to be held on July 30th. There is a 94% chance that there is going to be no change. So everyone is expecting no change. 5% expecting a rate cut. So we can agree that our probability of quantitative easing here in the next 20 days is not very good. But let's zoom forward to the next FOMC meeting, which is to be held in September. So in September, we're getting a 39.6 chance of no change with a 60% chance of an ease. And I'm more inclined to fall into that belief of the 60% chance of an ease bucket. I think that is likely with all the, Trump putting pressure on Jerome Powell, and I think that if Jerome Powell were to extend another time with no change, it would start to become what would appear to be a political issue. Now, so once again, this is leading us to believe that possibly we'll have something by September in form of QE, which will obviously, lead us more towards believing the alt season could happen here in the next 2 months. M2 global money supply. So what you're looking at on screen in the candlestick chart is Bitcoin's price, and then in the blue chart is the M2 money supply, and the gap here, you're seeing how the M2 is going up, but Bitcoin's back here. This is what they call the lag. So this chart has been shifted, and you can see the correlation here. So let's go back here, M2 trending down, down, down. Bitcoin hit its recent its most recent low. And then as it trended up, Bitcoin pumped, and then pumped again, and it went stagnant for this period of time. So just by looking at the chart, we're seeing some correlation, and people believe that this trajectory here of the M2 money supply growing is actually Bitcoin has more likely probability to follow this trend over the next about a month. So that's on our side. Now, Bitcoin going up doesn't necessarily mean altcoins are going up, but in looking back at history, when Bitcoin goes up, rising tide lifts all ships. Typically, you see hype and excitement come back into the market when Bitcoin's pumping and people begin speculating. So I would say that this leads us more towards an alt season narrative as well. But let's look at Bitcoin dominance, okay? Now, just come over to the chart. You can find this by typing in btc.d. That's the Bitcoin dominance. Right now, sitting at 64.8%. So if we were to take the overall money in the market, in the crypto market, 64% of that is currently held in Bitcoin. Now, people are going to start looking at the 4-hour chart, and they're going to start saying, hey guys, we're breaking down. We've been up here at 66 and we've fallen. This is the turn. Like always, guys, we got to zoom out to the weekly. This thing is not turning around right now. Now, I'm not saying that this isn't going to start falling here, but this upward trend has not been broken. What we really want to see, and I'm not sure I can do it, but you want to see it come down, come back up and form a lower high, and then start turning downwards like that. We want to see at least the break of one of these recent lower highs. Higher lows. So we want to see a trend start forming to the downside. You can see the major altcoin seasons that have happened in the past. Obviously here went from 72% down to 40%. This was in December of 2020 to May of 2021. I mean, just an extraordinary drop in Bitcoin dominance. Even if we can get back down to, say, 50, I mean, that's going to be a serious move. But as of right now, Bitcoin dominance still pushing upwards has a lot to do with the fact that the ETFs came out. People start trusting in Bitcoin more than others, and hopefully that leads us to people start trusting and speculating in on risk assets more, but we haven't seen that yet. So that's my Bitcoin dominance analysis. Has not started breaking down yet, but that doesn't mean it can't start soon. All right, another theory floating around. There are way too many altcoins in the market to have a bull run. So, guys, in in the pandemic area, you can see the chart down here. There was not, I mean, compared to where we're at now, an exorbitant amount of altcoins have entered the market. Okay. What does this mean? This means that the money that flow into altcoins, the theory goes that they're going to be more distributed among more coins. So you're not going to have the same historical alt season you've seen in the past. But I just want to point something out here. This huge rise right here is in dark blue. That contributes from Solana. All right. Solana, the reason is Solana made it so easy for people to start minting altcoins and coming up with these memes left and right and pumping and dumping on people. And also, people liked Solana memes because the fees were super low. And for $30, you make a trade on Ethereum, you pay $10 in gas fee, $20 in gas fee. Your money's essentially gone. But Solana made it so that you could transact for pennies. So this really was keen to the retail investor, people speculating. And so people were just creating coins out of thin air like crazy. So yes, there are a lot more altcoins on the market, but let's look at it by chain. These other chains have not gone up significantly. So this is partially why I do not speculate on Solana memes. I do not speculate on any of that because there is just too much Solana memeage here. I mean, but I'm still a fan of, we can look at other chains like Ethereum, and I think they'll still have a run. All right. So I'm staying away from Solana. All right. Other people say Ethereum must break all-time high for altcoin season to start. And the reason behind that is people will see Bitcoin going up. They first are going to turn to the next biggest asset, which has a good narrative behind it, which is Ethereum. And if that takes off, then people can begin speculating down the risk curve into what we traditionally think of as alts. What we've seen here is Ethereum break down below this long-standing trend line. And then it's rocketed right back up. And I did not expect this to happen so quickly. This was roughly a 100% move from the bottom here at 1,500 up to 3,000 now. So what will it take for us to reach all-time high? We're 68% away. We did this move so quickly and bounced back so quickly. And others are saying, Ethereum is going to have a run. I think, obviously this is trending in the right direction. We're not there yet, but I'm excited to see a $3,000 Ethereum right now. All right, so my analysis. QE has got to happen this year. That's my firm opinion. That is linked heavily to the M2 leading in the right direction. So when QE starts, M2 that only contributes to the M2. So I believe that's going in the right direction. Bitcoin dominance is not showing a trend reversal yet. So waiting to see on that. That one would lead us to believe that we need to wait a little bit longer. And then finally, while there are a lot more altcoins, the majority of these are going to trend to zero. Guys, all these Solana memes and all these things going on, it might be fun for the minute, but most of them are going to trend to zero. And the bigger names are going to have a run. So that's my analysis. Um, guys, I think that we are very close, and the probability has greatly increased over the past week for an altcoin season. I would say, just in my own personal opinion, we've more than doubled the chance of having an altcoin season based on recent price action. So, all right, guys. Like I said, not financial advice, but I hope you guys well, and I hope we all make it through this one. Hang in there. See ya.